Can you tell us what the genesis of this particular film was for you?
Well, it was, going back to that matter of the construction of femininity, but in a different way than before, because it's less intimate. It's more an encounter that I made with those girls that I kept seeing in the streets of Paris, passing by those groups of girls with this great energy, charisma, style, and this solidarity, I really wanted to look at them. I was, attracted, and it's a good starting point for a film when you want so badly to look at someone. And in the meantime, I thought that they are never looked at. Black girls in French cinema, they're invisible, they don't exist. And so I figured, okay, I have like the intimate urge to look at them, and there's also maybe a collective urge to do so. So I decided to go for it.
And what were the challenges, or were there no challenges in terms of going into the lives of these young women to find out more about what you wanted to tell?
Well, at first I decided to go for the writing, for the fiction, because that was part of the project. To take those characters, those girls profoundly from today, and to those contemporary faces and journey, and bring them into fiction, into a Romanesque gesture, and writing kind of a classical coming-of-age story, which is always about a young girl wanting to live a life, wanting to follow her desire, and confronting herself to the times she lives in, where she lives, and a family. So basically, the outline, the narrative, I made up, and I have thoughts about what they're going through. So I went for it just in the solitary of screenwriting, and then. Of course, I met them during the process of casting, which was very long, 3 to 4 months of looking for girls everywhere we could find them, which means agency of actresses, but there are very few black girls and young black girls in agencies, but theater courses, and also randomly in the streets, and we found most of them randomly in the streets, and we met like 300 girls, and at that time I really plugged myself onto their energy and their stories, and documented who they were, and it was of course a very important meetings for me and for the film.
And can I ask you about the next phase of development with them? Once you had cast them, I think they're all remarkable. If they had not actually been in films before, how did you bring them together to work on the film?
Well, at first, during the casting process, I picked the girls because also they wanted to commit, they wanted to work, they wanted to portray that story, and we had to pick up strong individualities, but also we had to find the right group with its alchemy. So we picked 4 girls that had already some chemistry, and then we did a workshop like before shooting for 2 weeks, and I was also part of the group. I was one of the students in the workshop, and we would, play games. We would sing, we would dance, we would just create some past between us, memories for that group, for that bunch, and getting to know each other, getting confident, and also initiating them to the rules of the cinema set. That is to say that it's all about the present, that you have to convoke the right emotion, the right attitude for each scene. And then also they lived together during the shooting, in the same house, which was a crazy house, and I couldn't live there because I wouldn't have sleep. But it was all very joyful and also very hard work. Yeah, they worked a lot. I picked them because, of course, they are not actresses, but I picked them because they were gonna be actresses, and it I find it really compelling to when you decide to talk about somebody who's growing up, actually having actresses growing up in the front of the cameras. It's really, it brings a lot of truth to the project. I think I like to think that the end of childhood, for me, and I think maybe you will share my opinion, begins when nostalgia comes. And it can come at a different time of your life. I mean, if your parent gets divorced at 6, you can get nostalgic pretty early. And I stayed a girl for a very long time. Actually, I still, use the word girl to talk about myself. But it's also because, making film about youth keeps the youth alive in you. But now I'm getting old and I have a pain back, and so that's why I'm quitting the world of teenagehood regarding movies and hopefully regarding also my personal life. But this is it stays between us, of course.
If I can expand on that, one of the things that I think is really moving actually about the film is that there's an incredible, powerful start where they're all playing football, or soccer, is it gridiron? And probably I don't even have the right language in this country for it. But this is the kind of incredibly powerful scene of group behavior and the group working together, and it contrasts so radically with that final shot of her walking off on her own, having made the decision to leave all of that behind her. In a sense, that sadness, that sense of melancholy is very much in those last kind of moments of the film.
Yes.
That's not a question.
But I can make it a question. I can make an answer to not a question. Yeah, even though the film here is named Girlhood. In France, it's named Bande de filles, which means bunch of girls, a gang of girls. And if it's a film about the group, about the energy of group, about the choreography of friendship, to tell about friendship, I feel you have to tell about one loner who gets in a group and who gets out of the group. And the last part of the film was quite important to me, even though it's kind of depressing a little bit, because we leave the group and we got attached. And the movie creates its own nostalgia by letting the group go. But I like to have one main character that is that you will identify to, and that you with the point of view of the film, so that it gets a little bit mental and impressionist, and that leaves out of the frame the thing that she doesn't pay attention to, that doesn't matter for her. And I think that's the journey I want the audience to embrace. It's to stick to her and to be in her head, in her body.